Cheers, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Drinks with Dylan. Wow. If you can see that on YouTube or, well, this one's not live, but yeah, on YouTube, Drinks with Dylan, you can see what just happened. This ice cube just like attacked my upper lip. Excuse me. Anyways, this week's episode, having Mason Wheaton on, a friend of mine, all of his things, oh my God, I've been sucking at speaking this whole time. This is my second take, and I'm still struggling. Mason Wheaton, his stuff is linked below. There it is. Good friend of mine, we went to school together for music in college, lives in Nashville. We talk about freelance music, finding a day job, addiction, not just like with substances, but to habits, and we both play a lot of video games, talking about that and maintaining productivity while keeping your sanity and free time, all sorts of things. So thank you so much for being here, and enjoy this episode. Doing the thing. Hey everybody.
Okay,
Welcome. I guess I should hide you. I'll just hide you so this will look cooler. Welcome to Drinks with Dylan, the podcast where the only rule and setup is that there's a beverage from the two or more or less people on the thing, which I've yet to pour, but we'll get there. This week, or the goal is that this is weekly, so I'm hoping it's this week. This week's guest is a good friend from college, and crushing Rocket League player, emerging. Mason Wheaton went to school together for music. He lives in Nashville. There he is. That was a really aggressive transition. That probably would have looked better in post, but that's fine. Let me also get this in the background just so it looks cool and it's less creepy than all black. Ladies and gentlemen, Mason Wheaton. Mason, thank you so much for being here, man. I super appreciate it.
You're welcome. I'll let you know what you owe me later.
Yeah. Oh, I should also drag you over here. Oh, that's why I broke this. Why I turned off the second monitor. So I can see you, and then when I'm looking at you, also people see my face. Otherwise, I'm looking at you like this, and then everyone's just staring at my, side, which is weird.
That's your good side, though.
Yeah, well, I hope so. All right, so you're not much of, an alcohol-y person.
No.
So what are you having? What's your...
Oh, it's one of the classics, let me tell you. It's if I know my alcohol, it's one of Jose Cuervo strawberry lime margarita.
Bro, I thought that was gonna be fruit punch or Mountain Dew Code Red with vodka. That glass just looks ridiculous. I feel weird to flex this, but Moore got me this really cool decanter so I can drink my scotch, and I'm finally final forming old man, 80-year-old person, and it's got a glass top.
Yeah.
By the way, if you can't see this and you're listening to this podcast, we also have a YouTube channel, Drinks with Dylan, and it's on Twitch, the Dylan Mansour Music channel, where you can see this. Otherwise, you'll just have to trust me and Mason that this looks like I'm way cooler than I am. It's also fucking huge. This glass is gigantic, but I appreciate you having the drink with me. Yeah,
Yeah, anything for you. Is this why you bring people on, to just show them up with your alcohol?
Yeah, I just want to
you
show
gotta
off
have
my
a little
glasses.
comparison.
Yeah, actually I have some coffee too. So the way this was planned was 5:30. It's now 8 p.m. And it started at a friend's place. I was doing some stuff with, there's a stream we did earlier, and I was playing through some songs because I was trying to think of putting out a single. We can talk about all those things later. But then afterwards we had a drink and played Wii, and then I was like, fuck it, let's have one more drink. And then it turned into us going to Wendy's, which was because I left my wallet and my keys with Moore because we took the train together. And we live in Queens. We have to go through Manhattan. She works in Manhattan, and then I was going to my friend's house in Brooklyn. So it makes this kind of C shape. So I went to the bottom of the C to go to the place in Brooklyn, and then I had to go back into Manhattan to get home anyways, but I had to stop to get my wallet and keys, and then I was like, well, fuck it. Let's get Wendy's. Now I'm in the mood for junk food because we had some drinks and we were talking about junk food. And then, all right, so I don't know what transportation is like in Nashville, but let me just bitch about the city for a second. They have transportation everywhere, right? And trains stop way too often. But I went to go in, and it's two-sided. Some of them don't have an underneath or an over platform for uptown and downtown. So I went to go uptown, and there was nowhere to get to buy a Metro card. there's like a teller, like a person, or there's like an ATM basically where you put in your Metro card and you can buy swipes to go through. And they didn't have one, but there's a fucking camera staring right at me past the turnstile. So I didn't want to just like hop the turnstile into the camera and just like middle fingers up, like, you can't stop me, and hope for the best. So I went on the other side, and on the downtown side, they didn't have anything, but they have this new device where you just like touch your phone or your debit card and it scans it and you can go through, and it charges your phone like Apple Pay or your debit card. So you don't need the little Metro card kind of in between thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No.
You have
Continue.
to like, you have to like fill this little card with swipes and like money to use. But then they set up a new machine where they're like, why don't you just use your card directly, like your debit card or your Apple Pay or whatever, instead of buying this other plastic card and then putting money on this other plastic card and then going through. It's just
Cutting out the middle, man.
Yeah, it was really dumb. So then I had to go on the train on the other side where I can swipe my phone and go downtown to go back uptown. I felt so dumb, man. And then I was like, well, I'm real fucking late now. So, you know.
I just remembered we were in different time zones because you were like 7 o'clock and I was like, and then you're like, oh, it's going to be like 45 more minutes. And then I was like, oh, okay, I got a while. And then you're like, hey, I'm on Discord. I was like, wait, what? You're early all of a sudden? Because it's only 7 right now.
Oh, fuck. Dude, I wouldn't even been that late. No. I'm out here feeling like a piece of shit.
I was going to put makeup on and everything, but.
No, well, it's okay. You would have had to shave too, and everything would have been a whole ordeal.
Yeah.
So there's really no rules for this podcast, right? Like the whole concept. And so everyone that's listening knows, like, I just basically invite people on that I like talking to. And I say the only rule is that, like, we just have a drink, you know, like at least one. And that's it. And then we just go live, and there's usually like 15 minutes of trying to figure out the audio shit. And then it's just whatever this episode turns into, which I think is great because it's way slower than the speed of everything else, which is so like fast and perfected. And like even my YouTube videos are like very clear cut, and there's like a thesis and points and a conclusion. And I just like, this is way more fun and relaxed. But that all being said, we don't have much to talk about. There was one thing that came up earlier though. When a friend asked me about, he's like, what's the topic tonight? I was like, I don't fuck if I know, like alcohol. I don't come up with this plan, but you play games also like me in a way that I think is like, so again, we went to school together. We went to undergrad. It was your junior and senior year, I think was my freshman and sophomore year. And, we'd play like games like, it was like NHL, some GTA and stuff like that. Whatever that one sword stabby game with the sound effects.
Yeah, we still have that.
Yeah, dude, that game is so fun. It's like a great party game.
Yeah, one night.
Yeah. And but you've mentioned a couple times where you like stopped playing games, or we played Rocket League for a bit, and then you uninstalled Rocket League because you're like, I was just staying up late and it was fucking with my work schedule. And like, and this isn't trying to put you on blast, being like, Mason Wheaton addicted to video games. What a horrible human. But I find myself doing the same things with everything. And I'm kind of curious, like, do you find a balance, or do you just kind of like have it sway? Like right now you're like in sweaty Rocket League mode where you're like getting real fucking good at the game. But is it like still a thing where you're like, oh, I'm like really addicted? I know you wouldn't get Fortnite with me even though I tried. And like, do you expect to uninstall Rocket League soon? Are you like not super sweaty with it, or?
Let me tell you, Dylan, when you have as much potential as me, here's the thing about us bigger fish. No, okay. No, I don't know. I feel like I'm at my best when I have a balance, but right now, yeah, it has gotten out of hand. I still have that same like idea in mind that I don't want it to get crazy out of hand, but I've almost like justified it because of, coronavirus and stuff, lack of live music. So I'm kind of like coping with video games. I've actually been trying to come to terms with that the last couple of days, but I don't know, one step at a time. I'm still yeah, I don't know. It's fun to do with friends anyway, that's another thing.
Yeah, especially now too, when you can't really I mean, a lot of my friends aren't really in the city anyways. Like I have friends in the city obviously, but like, I don't know, like I'm not going to hang out with you in real life, I'm not going to hang out with like our friend Dewar in real life. I'm not going to like my brother lives in Michigan. I'm not just going to like fly to Michigan and hang out with him like every night, but video games is very much a way to kind of like, it's one of the things that I do that I think is not I don't know, I would consider it like socializing, I guess. Like, which I guess is a whole different
Yeah.
discussion of like, is it really socializing if you're on the internet? But otherwise, it's just like work and doing music stuff. And then my like hangout fun time is like, all right, I'm gonna go play video games on the internet, which I think is valid. You mentioned
Yeah.
the coming to terms of the live music thing and the Corona shit.
Yeah. That kind of disappeared for now. Hopefully for not too long, but I have no idea. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like it didn't affect me a lot at first, but the past couple months now, it's really started to bum me out. I realize I miss being on stage. It's one of my favorite things to do, and when I can't have that, it's just I feel unfulfilled in a certain way.
Yeah.
And I feel like Rocket League isn't really fulfilling. It just gets me by for the time being, I guess.
Yeah.
Sorry to get all depressed.
No. I mean, I think it's like valid stuff because I feel that way too. Or like, if you're like, there's sometimes where I'll play games and it can be really cool and I'll like clear my head and I'll feel better. Like I'll go in stressed. Let me start that way. I'll like go into like I'm stressed or I'm tired from work or like I don't want to work on this video or whatever. And like sometimes that shit will be kind of on the back burner. And if I hop into it or I'm like playing with friends, or like particularly playing with you, because I think we have a good time and I just spend most of the time laughing when we play together, that like all that shit can kind of like go away and be gone like long term, and I'll feel better for it after. And then there's times where I'll do it and then like 3 hours later I'll be like, all right, I still feel like shit. Be like, all right, I'm gonna go get some work done. And it's so hard I don't think there's like ever kind of a common denominator of, are you going to feel better or the same after you do it? Like, I don't know if you felt the same way, but it'll just be kind of like sometimes escapist and sometimes like actually healthy and helpful, and I never know which one it's going to be until it's like hours later. And I hope I didn't fuck up.
I think the line is drawn around 3 hours of playing it. Then,
all right, I should know how I feel by now. It's been 3 hours. Yeah That's fair.
I agree though. I've definitely let it get out of hand lately.
I mean, I think it's great.
I've been trying to reel it back in though,
because I mean, you can now just carry me in so it's like a ranked video game, and it used to be a point where I was like ranked a little bit higher, and then Mason like uninstalled the game, and then he started playing again, and I wasn't really playing that much, and then he's like, hey, we're the same rank now, and I was like, I guess I'll install and play. And it's like I was ignoring him because we weren't. I was just like, oh, I haven't played Rocket League in forever. Even hit me up like a couple times. All right. And now it's like he's ranked higher and can carry me, which is, I mean, very convenient for me. I just don't play and then hop on and like, hey, can you just win for our team? But
no, I wouldn't say that.
So I guess that's another. We've had a couple, I guess, more serious conversations. So I guess I'm gonna pull it from that. And if it's just uncomfortable, then we'll just cut it out. You'd be like, hey, fuck you, don't bring this up.
We need a secret word.
Yeah, pineapple will be our safe word for that.
Okay. Safe word, not secret. I have a secret word. I'm not going to tell you. But you'll know because I'm going to yell it as loud as I can.
Webster doesn't even know about this secret word. That shit's it's written in lemon juice on the back of every dictionary.
It's not written in lemon juice. You use that to...
Wait, I thought that was what...
You use that to reveal it, and then you use it...
I'm a really shitty spy, I'm going to be honest. I don't... No
Dylan,
wonder
we
I
didn't
haven't
get
gotten
any
a
of the
reply.
code you left us. I wrote it in lemon juice. It's not lemon juice, you dumb fuck. It all got absorbed.
I'm just sitting at a bridge waiting for like a week. Where the fuck's this other guy? Yikes. Real rough. Anyways.
Gabagool!
Nice. Nothing like some office jokes. So just going back to super fucking serious, I guess. We've talked a little bit about like addictive personality tendencies. And I feel like I have a lot of similarities, and you've addressed some things where you feel that way sometimes. And I definitely do too. I think I'm like very bad at this kind of happy medium of like literally anything. I just think I'm like real shit at like, I'm going to not eat a lot today, or I'm going to eat like an average. It's like, oh yeah, I didn't eat until 4, and then I ate this giant fucking breakfast at 4, and then it's 8 and I'm not hungry. So I had like a goldfish, and then I went to bed. Like just very much like swaying on one side or the other, and kind of with everything too. Like when I'm really trying to, like when I was trying to stream a lot, right, during Corona stuff, I was like, I'm doing this all the time, and it wasn't just having the time to do it, but I was just like that committed. And then I was like, wow, I'm really fried out, and I need to recover. And then I went full into like recovery mode to like balance out how much I was trying to do all this other stuff, instead of like just kind of doing this happy medium. And then I got a job, which was full time. And then I was like, I want to try to figure out how to do the streaming thing while I do it. And then I just got like tired from the job all the time and didn't really do it. And granted, those are some like external factors, I guess. But again, that kind of pendulum of like, I'm doing this all the time. And then I'm like, oh, fuck, I can't. And a lot of that too is like my body and my health will kind of catch me. I don't know if there's been like similar kind of things. And obviously, I'm assuming this goes beyond Rocket League, but I'd kind of love to hear more about like things that you like, thoughts on that or experiences you've had with it, because we had some conversations like way back in Cowledge time about it.
True. We did. Oh.
Yes. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Yes. No. What if my responses were just like one word? Yes.
Yeah, that was a fun podcast, man. Yes. Oh, sick. Yeah.
Okay. No, I just say okay to everything. Okay.
You have thoughts? Okay. Yeah, we got to get him on.
Yeah,
we
it's
should have
definitely
a trio podcast. Anyways.
Oh, that'd be fun. Yeah, it's definitely hard to keep like the pendulum in the middle for sure. I struggle with that too. I feel like sometimes if I have a good balance in one area, like my home life, maybe even exercise or eating well, then it's like I just I have to go the other, like go really hard in a different area. Like I get restless if I'm just kind of happy in the middle. I think that might be part of it. I know you said other things besides Rocket League, but Rocket League is the big one right now.
Sure.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's a part of it too, that's like the big one, because that's like, even that's getting into literally just like, I mean, what you said, maybe that's the only one, because maybe like home stuff is like more kind of mellow and controlled or whatever else. So Rocket League's like the swing factor.
I think that's part of it.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think that's part of it because I love where we live. I love the neighborhood. I love my life after work. You know,
sure.
It's all well balanced and everything. Man, I feel like you're my therapist. But yeah, so I have to just. It's out.
Therapist that drinks on the clock.
Like, yeah. It's never anything like creative, or it feels like. It's always like consumer type activities that only are fun for me, but never really give me any. What am I trying to say? I can't make anything with it or move forward in any way. It's just there to be temporarily fun, and that's it. And those are the things that I usually get addicted to. That's actually one of the reasons that why I don't really drink.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
I'm pretty sure, I would.
Fucking great. So now I feel like now I feel like a piece of shit.
Really nice. Yeah.
To be fair, there was consent before this. I'll pull up the texts. This is not my fault. So and if there's any issues that arise, I'm going to be the first one flying into Nashville. That's interesting, because for me, I think it's everything, which is like, I don't want to say way worse or like be like, hey, you have it fucking easy, because everyone's obviously has like a subjective experience, but like for me, it's kind of everything, and everything feels kind of tied to itself. Like it feels like what's that shit where you pull the ball and it hits the other one and it goes back and forth?
That's metal ball clackers. That's what they're called.
Yeah. Metal ball clackers. Yeah, no, the physics metal ball clackers.
Oh yeah, no, I think it's.
By the way, that game
physics metal ball clackers for smart people. That's the full name.
Yeah, with hyphens between all of it. So when you say it to somebody, you gotta put quotes and a hyphen in between each word.
And you have to say it really fast so they know it's all one word.
Can we hear what that would sound like real quick? Can you give us
Hey man, I've been saving up lately for a really big set of physics metal ball clackers for smart people. You know?
Do you
think that would be worth it?
I think that seems like mindless consumerism that you're gonna swing on. So I would say no, as your concerned friend.
Well, I am a swinger. Sorry, that was a dumb joke.
Yeah, it's okay. You can't land all of them, you know? You land 50% of the shots you never take, so it's like, you know.
I'm not gonna take any more shots.
Fuck, now I forgot what I was
Just
gonna
gonna sit
say. Holy shit. Oh, the physics ball, the ball thing. So I feel like all of my stuff is like connected to itself. So like because there's like the job stuff, which is like my 9 to 5 job stuff, and then there's my other job stuff, which is like this and the YouTube videos and like socials and whatever else, and trying to like book any freelance work. And then there's like personal life stuff and hanging out with more and like going out to eat or watching shows at night or like playing Switch together or like whatever. And all of those things just all feel super glued. Like if I'm really tired from work because it's been like really intense, then like my creative stuff slips, and then I'll like swing too hard into video games to cope, and then I won't spend more time with more. And then if I spend more time with more, then I might stop playing video games and I'll be bummed because I'm not hanging out with friends, or I'll like do all my project stuff and then do less of these other because like maybe that's just a time constraint, but I think even without it, it's just still a thing that like kind of every aspect feels like one of those, like I just suck at middle grounds, man. And it's like not great. I'm trying to figure it out, but it's just not, even like fitness stuff. Like I've climbed, like I just decided that I'm going to climb all the time, and I'm trying to rehab an injury. And someone was like, yeah, you should just climb, like rock climbing. Like you should climb all the time, even if it's like lighter climbing to resolve it. And I'm like, okay, cool. Yeah. So now I just fucking climb every day, like all the time. And like my back
Hey,
hurts
Dylan,
so much.
climb for 10 minutes a day. What?
So 4 hours tomorrow?
That's
Sick.
impossible. Yeah. 4 hours for 4 days in a row and then never do it again.
Yeah, which is how I got the injury that I'm still like figuring out in the first place, is because I went to a different gym and I was like, I think I like the setting here a lot. And then I climbed too hard and I fucking popped a tendon like an idiot because I was like tired and I shouldn't have been climbing, which, you know, I guess case in point. But I don't know that there's a...
Hey, where's the damage?
It's I think it was the flexor capri ulnaris. I just think of Capri Sun all the time, but it was in this part of my arm, but it was from this finger. What? So it was my ring finger that hurt, but the pop was like down here, and it's connected to these two. Oh. So this finger started hurting because this one was like weaker, and I was compensating my middle finger for my ring finger. Yeah, I was like rehabbing it before we closed the gym, and then we closed because of COVID, and then I stopped climbing for a month, and then I hopped back into climbing and went 3 times in 1 week because, you know, middle grounds, and then I fucking hurt it again, and then I was like, well, I'm just going to stop climbing, and then I did until we reopened, so... Yeah, not the greatest with that.
That's how it goes.
Yeah, I mean, you know. I'm curious, because we've had a couple conversations about this also. I'm just going to keep using that so it sounds like I pulled resources for this even though I didn't. But I'm kind of curious like what you do, and I guess since this is like a music-y podcast-ish, even though I don't care about titles, but I do music and most all of my friends do, so like we're just going to fucking talk about it sooner or later. You also have a job and then do freelancey things. I mean, pre-Rona and like the fucking apocalypse end of the world time, obviously. But I'm kind of curious that whole process. And like you moved to Nashville from Illinois in school, and you moved with like your girlfriend who's a teacher. And like I'm curious kind of all of the... Can you kind of walk me through how that all happened and what you did to like find the balance of that, and like the whole job versus
balance
playing?
Of what? What's balance?
Like job versus playing and moving all the way to Nashville and trying to figure that out, like the whole kind of process of it. Because I'm always curious how people do that part. I feel like that part's never really talked about that much. They're like, yeah, I just live here and do this now. It's like, but what about, how'd you do the hard part? And I feel like you're done with the hard part now, and you're like there, and now it's just kind of like settling and moving forward with it. I mean, you know?
Location wise, yeah, I'm here, but yeah, I don't know. Picked a date and moved. We found jobs. We found day jobs first, even if they were just part-time. Her cousin let us move in with her for a little bit while we tried to get more work, and I switched to a full-time job, so we actually got an apartment. So there's that part.
And was
all the while I would
Go ahead. Well, I was just gonna say, was hers the teaching, like the music school thing right away, or was she also doing like something random part time?
Kind of random. It was actually a funny question.
I
She was a prostitute. No, I'm kidding. She was.
Jesus. I hope you listen to this episode.
Working for a place called Learning RX, where
Hang on, I think your mic's cutting in and out a little bit
like
there.
any age. Was it my internet connection, or is it the audio?
Well, your face was moving, but the mic was not making the waves wiggle the way they were to. You said after the prostitute part, and then I said, I hope she listens to this. You kind of cut in and out, and then you said something about X's. Yeah, there it is. Can you just run that back? I'm sorry.
RX. That's the company she started. She got a job.
I can't tell if that was you or not.
They teach cognitives. What?
No, I just couldn't tell if that was you because at first, every time you say that sentence, it starts on X.
Really?
Yeah.
Am I cutting out really bad?
No, I believe.
Okay. All right. No, I was kidding. Man, I'm so pessimistic lately. All right. She got a job at Learning RX.
Yeah.
Did that come out? Use that take. All right, yeah, use that one.
Oh, I'm leaving this whole thing in.
Down right here. Okay. They teach cognitive skills to people of all ages, but it's mostly kids, students. They teach them how to memorize things quickly, how to pay attention to things, just faster cognitive skills, basically. Which is kind of like freelance work, You take on client by client and slowly get in more hours, make more money. That's what she did for a while, actually.
Sure.
It took her a while not a while, maybe a couple of years to get the music job, which was amazing what she did. Nice. I got a part-time job, switched to a different full-time job so we could pay for an apartment. And basically with that done, I mean, all the while we were going out whenever we could to listen to songwriters. That's the kind of group that I got in with. Just started connecting. Everyone's super friendly here. People would say, hey, I need a drummer for this. So, next thing I know, I'm in a band. So,
nice.
Thing is, in Nashville, if you want to go with like original songwriters, you won't make basically any money at the beginning. And right now, what I'm doing, which doesn't bother me that much. Like, I want it to be a passion to, project and see how far we can go with it. That's what I want to do, But there are people that are hired guns, bands, and they do charge.
Your mic cut out a little bit there, but really quick while we get this back.
That's cool.
Hired guns means like freelance musicians, and if you don't know what freelance is, you get paid per thing you do. I don't know. Google's smarter than me, so I would check there for the exact definition. But freelancing is like, hey, can you do this one kind of like one-off gigs and working with like it's like I-9s or something, or just off the books and cash, oftentimes, to be honest. But can we run that back from you were saying like passion projects and stuff, and then that was kind of like the last part where the mic went.
Yeah, I normally like to get involved. Did it cut out again?
No, you're good. You're doing great. No, it was fine. It was just the throat clearing was funny. It made me think like, oh yeah, your voice cut out. Oh, sorry. Sometimes my vocal cords just fucking kick the can and then.
I can't believe I've memorized this much of my speech.
I sent him a script before this podcast. He was nervous.
No, I have a cough. Be warned. Don't come near me. No, I don't think I'm sick, though. I think it's just allergies.
Cyber-Rona.
Whoa, you just went like fast forward. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I've been involved in a lot of passion projects. which we don't really make much money at all, if anything. It's basically, hey, let's collab. Let's see how far we can take this project. Let's see how many listeners we can get.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people do hired. They're hired guns, like I said, and they're looking to make money off of like multiple bands that they do work for. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that at all. But it's just a different way of doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, I'm just collabing with all sorts of people, trying to be the best musician I can be. I'm learning a lot with that, like performance wise, and writing parts, playing in the studio, just stuff.
Okay.
All I'm doing right now.
The stuff is really cool though, man. Like a lot of the stuff that I've like seen, especially some of the things with your own stuff, seems really cool. Like kind of like finding your voice, just doing stuff that you like enjoy. Like some of your drum stuff and guitar things are like super. I don't know. I think it's super cool because it feels like super original and authentic. I think like having that kind of honest music thing isn't always super. I'm sorry, I'm taking a note down before I forget this thing that came into my head. Not related to this at all, but that's just how my mind goes. So, not that I'm trying to be a shitty listener, but it's cool to see that stuff. And I wonder, and me and Sam, we all went to the same school. You remember Sam plays the bass.
Yep.
We were talking about kind of that role of passion projects versus the financial side. And a part of what we spoke about and kind of how I've been feeling is, first off, I can afford to pay the people in my passion things better. Even though a lot of them are friends, like I still want them to be compensated for it, what I think they should be, or at least closer to than I'd be able to. And it also just allows that kind of the music and the enjoyment can speak first, because if you're like focusing on the money side of it, that can really become like a bogging down thing, which I think is a bigger picture, just unfortunate thing that there's not, a lot of money to be had in these things, especially at the start. It's kind of like that high risk, high reward sort of situation. But that when you have something a little bit more anchored, it's like, yeah, I'm cool doing this for like $20 because I have this other source of income and now I can just enjoy it, versus being like, well, this fucking sucks because I spent more on the cab home and I don't know, I'm going to pay rent tomorrow. Like it can get to be like kind of a lot.
No, that makes sense. It does free you up a little bit in that sense. Although, I mean, you do come home tired most days, which can affect you, but I don't know. I found a job now that actually is not bad. So
what's the job, if you don't mind me asking?
Getting by. Work at String Joy. It's a small business, Nashville-based manufacturing company. You can order custom sets, and they are very high quality too. And I just ship out the orders. That's all I do.
What's a custom set of strings?
Some guitar strings. Almost all guitar string companies have like already like pre-made sets. Like, hey, do you want the, I don't know, super light? And they start with 9 and end in 40. And we have sets like that too, but you can also go online and literally order string by string what you want your set to be. Oh, that's actually pretty rare with guitar string companies.
And that's like a gauge thing, right? Like the width for I mean, I guess for non-guitarists, but also non-music people, like the 9 to 40.
Sorry, that was probably pretty unclear.
No, it's okay. 9 to 40 is like the gauge, right? Like the width of like the cable or whatever you want to call it, like literally the width of the string.
Yeah, so I think.
The internet.
With your smallest string, it'd be a 9, 11, 15, 24 WOM, 3240. Okay.
Holy Lord.
See me? Am I frozen?
Hang on. I'm going to just leave this and come back. 4 seconds. There it is. I think we're back. I'm hoping that this kind of resolves some of the audio stuff. Looking real good. So you play guitar, right?
Yeah, a little bit.
I mean, I think it counts. How did you start playing guitar?
Learned from my dad and stuck with the basics. Basically learned the fundamentals and that's about it. Just played around with those for a long time. I just like to play melodies and chord progressions that are like inspiring in the moment. it really simple. I'm not. I haven't like developed like any lead playing skill or anything.
And now I just
So,
shred
I
over
don't
Zeppelin tunes, and like it's sick.
yeah, the Stairway to Heaven guitar solo verbatim, and I can play it probably better than anyone else. But that's about it.
Just simple shit. So do you play their strings? Do you get like a hookup on string deals? Man, this internet's doing real good.
Yeah. We can just take a set every now and then. Oh crap! Am I dying again?
I think you're back now.
Save me!
It went from real in time to kind of that fast forwarding thing that you're talking about. I think we're back though. Can you say a word and we'll see if it's like Godzilla status movie from the 30s or not?
A word.
Oh God, yeah.
Was that good?
There's some major delays. Oh my God, I can hear him. I hear a keyboard. I heard a keyboard.
Hello?
Oh!
Wait, are we good?
Yeah, now you are. Maybe your phone just can't hack it. Yeah, there it is. This feels like Zoom University. Yeah, dude, that was nuts. That was some crazy shit.
Hang on. Is my video coming out?
Yeah, it was there. I mean, then it went red. Now you're back.
Oh, okay, there we go.
Can we really quick?
Yeah, how about that quality?
Ladies and gents, welcome back, Mason. I'm just going to have to cut out the past like 15 minutes of fuckery, but thank you so much for like figuring that out. I appreciate it. Was that actually a conversation that was happening, or was that supposed to be some sort of code that you texted me, like lemon juice?
Wait, what?
I said,
oh. I don't get what you're saying.
no. Was there actually a landlord moment, or was that like code for something and it just went over my head?
Yeah. We're not going to have water till tomorrow morning.
Oh.
Guess I'll have to play a lot more Rocket League to cope with this, huh?
I know what we're doing after this podcast. He texted me and he was like, "Hey, landlord's here talking about a plumbing issue," and I was like, "Is this code for like him going to the bathroom or something?" I was like, "You don't have to. Your text isn't showing up on stream. You can just tell me." I was like so confused. Because I can't imagine landlords coming that late in the city. Before we go back to whatever we were talking about, which I don't remember, can I just that crash symbol behind you? Can you just lean for a second so I can see it? Is that where you normally keep your crash?
I raised it recently because I've been rocking some Phil Rudd, AC/DC. Gotta get back to the basics, baby.
Dude, I saw that crash and I was like, damn, this dude's going this dude must not have looked cool enough. And he was like, you know what? First step to looking cooler, playing the drums. By the way, I didn't say any of this, but Mason is he does a lot of things. I would say songwriter, drummer, percussionist, guitar player. I think that kind of covers all the things that I've seen you do. He also learned the timbales one summer, so...
I knew I would never get away from that.
It was a college remark when everyone was getting caught up with what they did over the summer, and he was like, "Yeah, I took the timbales home and I learned them." It's just like, I learned these 2 drums this summer.
You guys thought it was so fucking funny, and dumbass redneck comes up there like, "I learned them. It's Cuban instrument. I learned them. Can check that off my list."
It's one of those things where like there's no way to say it that's not kind of out, so it's really not like, it's not a jab at Mason. There's no way to be like, what did you do? Like, yeah, I learned this instrument kind of, but you never fully learn anything ever because that's just logic. But like, if you say that, then everyone's like, wow, look at this fucking philosophy major over here. I bet he smokes and wears cardigans and like is sad.
And that's what the whole studio is like. And I was like, fuck, sorry, I don't know how to talk in front of people.
I'm nervous. Just like pee yourself and run out the door like a scared dog. I'm out.
Honestly, I've never been more nervous than playing percussion in front of Greg Beyer the multiple times that I've had.
Yeah, he's that was our instructor at our school. He's a tense guy. I've had some of the best lessons and worst lessons in my life with him. And it was never always up to me if it was going to be a good or bad lesson. I've read a whole essay about that after a semester, and we had a whole conversation, me and him, about it. Went really well. But anyways, I guess, so, I mean, we're not wrapping because we still have like plenty of time to make up for. We probably got like another 20 minutes or so if you're cool with that. And I have no bars, as we discussed before. But is there anything that like you want to talk about, or any like, you know, or any shout outs, by the way? His Instagram is at Mason Wheaton _, I think. So MASONWEATON, or is there an H? There's no H.
WH.
Oh, WHEATON, and then an underscore at the end.
Yeah.
So you should go check him out and see the stuff he does, because it's cool, and you can check out the things and the drummy things, and there's some like electronics at one time, and I was like, oh damn. But yeah, man.
I deleted Instagram off my phone, but go support me.
But go support him. Please link it.
I'm done.
I don't know how to do that, but this is his thing. So if you just search this, I know this is lazy music, but here's his thing. So I would just look that up on Instagram. You can copy and paste it. But yeah, is there anything that like you want to talk about, or any kind of, I like leaving space so it's not just like me leading shit. If you want to be like, you know, I was thinking about this.
No, let's just leave some space right now.
Yeah.
About 10 seconds. Hey, if
dude, that was
so
like
if you run out of
10 seconds is long. Holy fuck. I was like, literally, because I have clocks here for the stream and the recording, and I was like, wow, this has been 4 fucking seconds. Jesus.
That was only 4? Oh, man.
Yeah. Imagine playing 4 minutes and 33 seconds now, like just sitting there that long. Like,
yeah.
That's a John Cage piece, by the way, that is just nothing. Where it's just 4 minutes and 33 seconds of like room noise.
You like how off my timing was? It's like that's the worst advertisement for me as a drummer. Is I'm like, all right, it's been 10 seconds. It's been not even half of it. Hey, hired me, by the way.
As long as it's not 60 or 120. Pretty good. If you're doing that, I'm fucking probably going to play it at like 95. So
it's too mainstream. I don't even touch it. No, I don't know. I think it'd be funny if you ever ran out of things to talk about on this podcast. Like eventually you're just bringing guests on to just like slam alcohol and get like shit. I thought I had more left, but I think I drank it all.
You know, I mean, could be a valid idea. There's really no, I think that's a part of it, is that I like the idea of it being nothing, you know? And it can just kind of be whatever. Something did just come into my mind that I'd like to talk about then, if you're cool with it. But
I know what it is.
Yeah, it's about plumbing. Similar topics. But to have this be something that's like way more relaxed. So like I'm fine with 10 seconds of silence and like this weird disconnect at the beginning, and I don't care because I'm not doing this with the intent of like, come watch this. I want this to just kind of stand on its own 2 feet. Other platforms I'm trying to grow, and then this is going to be like, I'm just going to do this because I enjoy it, and it's also a way to catch up with friends, which is sick. But I was thinking earlier, like I do too often and too much. Too often and too much, too often and too hard. There's got to be 2 words for thinking too hard and thinking too often. That makes more sense, because what is too much thinking versus thinking too often? That's like the same. Those are kind of synonyms with respect to thinking. Anyways,
feel free to get on with your point anytime.
Yeah, give me 10 more seconds.
I finished my, what is it, a margarita? Is that what I said it was?
Yeah, you said it was like Jose Cuervo strawberry lemonade. Oh, wait, hang on. Let me get a drink reset in the chat.
No, strawberry lime.
Oh, fuck it. I guess we'll keep it at 3 since I had 2 before this, and then Mason had his one, and I'm still finishing mine because it's in a fucking like soup bowl of a scotch glass. So nostalgia in me, I have a very like fucked up relationship with like nostalgic feelings. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I just don't do well with it because there's like a lot of stuff that I feel like regret for, or that I wish I could do differently. And I guess the ironic side of it, because I was talking to some people before this also about it, is that like I wish I could like go back and do it differently, but with the knowledge that I've had, you know, and I'm sure there's like a bajillion movies that have all been kind of done with that premise. Like, yeah, if I could go back to college now or go back to high school now, I would do it differently. But like, you wouldn't have this skill set and this knowledge to pull from going back, you know. And a big thing with college, and we spoke a lot then, by comparison, just because we saw each other like all the time, every day, is just like I wish I was a little bit more like relaxed and able to kind of like chill out a little bit more. And even when I think about stuff that I like really enjoy, like one of my favorite things was like Saturdays. You know, I'd like wake up in the morning, play video games, prep for the day with Everett, and then go hang out with you guys, have some drinks, and then we'd go to like the football games. And I wear my giant high socks with my like cut off brown khakis and like red Vans, and we'd all be in like our NIU stuff, and it was like a super fun time. And like I love it. Like I will forever remember that feeling of walking down Lucinda towards you guys on like a Saturday afternoon at like 2 p.m. post pre-gaming with Everett. Just like that feeling, and like everyone involved and all those friends are like so distinct. And I like wish that I had more of it, you know? And maybe that's me just being like ungrateful or a piece of shit. But like I don't know if you ever have that feeling where it's like I love it a bunch, but like I love it to the point of like it like hurts that it's not there anymore, you know? Is that weird? Is this sad?
No. Man, you're painting a really good picture, by the way. I do miss those days.
Dude, because it was, oh man, that was like some of my favorite
Yeah.
times of all. Anyways, sorry.
Yeah, actually, I was having this conversation with Noelle, my girlfriend. You're right. Hey, I'm taken. Sorry, ladies. I
I've
don't know.
tried.
Yeah, nostalgia is really hard on me. I don't know. I remember being like 8 years old and tearing up in my bed, like I missed when I was 3 years old, and so I feel like it's gotten bad enough to for me to where I'm like, dude, shut the hell up. Like you're thinking of all the good times. You remember 80% of the days in DeKalb that were just unbearably cold.
Yeah, in the wind, and then like, and that's the other thing too is like some of those really good friendships didn't stem from like awesome experiences, you know. Like
Yeah.
it's like I think it's. I mean, I don't know, so I could be totally out of line here, but like I compare it to like I don't know when you see like the military movie like timeline and stuff is like we all go through this really hard thing and this brings us together, and that's like kind of what some of the stuff with undergrad felt like, where there's like that there's like a lot of stuff that was going on that wasn't super fun or easy to take on, but it brought everyone really close, and those friendships are really cool. But the other part is like when you look back, all the other stuff and like the painful stuff and the hard stuff kind of fades away, and you're just like, wasn't this so awesome all the time? It's like, well, that might not be the clearest vision, but maybe that's better that it's not that clear anyways, so that you can better appreciate it. But then if you don't contextualize it, then you're just like, oh, but I miss how fun everything was all the time and stuff like that. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know. I just think I boiled it down to the best thing you can do is just appreciate right now. Because I feel like sometimes I don't do a good job of just being in the moment, whatever moment it is, good or bad. Just like being in the moment, dealing with it, you know, and
Yeah.
making the best of it.
Yeah, I've definitely struggled with that a lot too. And I think part of that is also just having like the goals and aspirations I have. Sometimes it's hard to appreciate the process. And whenever I am, I'm like way better at getting closer towards my goals anyways, which is like, I guess, ironic. But if you focus so much on that or like going backwards, you know, like for a while I was kind of out of shape and really struggling and not posting all the time. And I was like, well, I used to work out every day and run 4 miles every day and post a YouTube video every day. And I was like, well, yeah, but that's not me. And that was when I was in college and I didn't need to find a job and all this stuff. Like that's not, that's just not the reality of the situation anymore. So if I'm going to compare it to that, that's just not real life.
Yeah, I was talking to Noelle and I was like, how funny is it that like in high school, I remember people older than me coming back from college and being like, "Oh, be thankful for your high school days. You know, college gets crazy. Like you don't have much free time." And I'm like, "What do you mean? You have like 4 classes some days." And I'm like, "It's got to be better." And then I get to college and I'm like working my ass off most days, and and I'm like, "Fuck, I do miss high school." I had legit free time with nothing to worry about when I was not in school. And
Yeah.
and then I remember being in college and adults were like, cherish these college days. It gets crazy. I'm like, what do you mean? Being an adult, you have a job, and then you come home and you have like all the freedom in the world.
Yeah.
And now that I'm like an adult,
I love the air quotes, an adult.
that's what they call me. Um, yeah, it's like, man, I have too many responsibility,
Yeah, dude, it gets
and it makes me.
yeah, it's weird, man. It's like a not to bring it down or anything, but it is kind of like a weird. It's like one of those. I mean, I guess that's where all the stupid like cliches come from, right? Like the grass is always greener and all that stuff. But then you speak to people like we have we have a friend with.
I didn't even get it right.
Did you say don't chew with your mouth full? Did I hear that right? Your mic
you have
cut
to
in.
swallow it whole. That's where it comes from. What are you,
Oh.
pussy? You chew with food? I don't know where I'm going with this. Continue.
Sick. With well, now I just fucking forgot what it was. I was gonna say something. Oh yeah, our friend Johnny. We spoke, and he was like, "Dude, it's way easier after college." He's like, "I have like these are the gigs I got to worry about, and I have way more time to shed between students and between whatever else and all this stuff." And it's crazy because I think it's kind of like subjective, I guess, depending on the person. I don't know. It's really interesting talking.
Everything's subjective, I guess. Actually, you know what? I would prefer this over college because I like having control of my own path. I mean, moving to Nashville, getting away from like old memories and people. You know?
Yeah, I mean, just like a fresh start, basically. I mean, that's kind of how I felt when I moved to New York. I was like, all right, this is my chance to like do my own thing and be the person that I want to be. And then I've been spending this time trying to like become.
Don't you feel so special when you see another batch of new people rolling into town? You're like, fucking newbies. I've been here a year and a half.
I've been here so much longer. Like
It makes
sophomores
me
looking
feel
at
so
freshmen.
dumb. I'm like, man, I'm just another basic idiot that moved to a popular city.
I mean, I don't know, man. I think that takes that in and of itself though is a thing and an accomplishment that I think is really easy to overlook. Mainly because people that aren't there like, oh, so what? You just like moved somewhere, but they don't know like how hard it is or like the differences of it. Because if you just, I mean, I was talking to another friend earlier, and he was because I asked him similar stuff about nostalgia and things. It was Max. He's been on the podcast before. Plays piano at the Trio. And he went to a state school in Ohio, and he was like, you know, like people go there and they like, I don't know, have a good time, and there's all the school spirit and football games and like everyone's in a frat and whatever else, and then like they get a job in the city that the school's in and just kind of stay there and do their thing. And he's like, it's fine if you're just kind of like looking to like do that, and that's kind of what your goal is. That was a fly, by the way. I'm not just fucking freaking out. Yeah, if I start like foaming at the mouth, let me just call somebody. Yeah, the guy I'm on a call with is having a stroke. Where does he live? New York City? Okay, yeah, we'll be right there.
In your apartment building, there's a clock on a shelf or something. Yeah.
Yes, we know exactly where he is.
How creepy would that be?
That'd be. I mean, they could probably IP address it. I should use a VPN, but whatever.
Send us a picture of the video chat, and they're like, we've matched that with one of these apartment rooms.
They just like have access to my webcam all the time. But he was talking about the whole kind of simplicity of it, and if that's what you're going for. And I think part of the nostalgia stuff too, to bring it back, is that like the idea of like I always thought, and I feel like I've talked to you about this, like, oh, if I had like a second life, I'd love to just be like a business major and just like fuck off and party and like drink and hang out on the weekends and like barely attend classes and get an internship. I said
like that same thing before, yeah.
Yeah, and like, you know, get like an internship somewhere and then graduate and go work at where I got my internship and just have like an easy job making more money than I make now and like all that stuff. But if I don't have the context of where I am now to appreciate it, then like the biggest drama compared to what I've gone through now, which I would say like objectively is worse, but because it's happening to an individual person, it's really not. But like their biggest stress might actually be that like Becky slept with Chad and Becky's supposed to be Kyle's girl, and that actually fucking stresses them out, you know? Which like I wouldn't say is as bad as being homeless and having no job, but like to them that might be like their 10 because their scale is different than mine, and I can't live that life with this perspective, at which point all of this is null and like doesn't matter anyways to like stress it. But I don't know, it's weird to think about. My mind was on it on the way home, and I was like, man, I feel like I'm gonna be sad to podcast with, and then I got in a better mood, and then your audio cut out, and now I'm just back to confused. But
well, I've had a bit of a rough day too, so I was worried I was gonna. I think that's why this is a darker podcast. We're just like,
Well, there'll be plenty of
man, mopey.
there'll be plenty of repeat episodes too. The way this is set up is going to be just like whatever the fuck I want, whenever I want. Basically, my goal is once a week. If it's more than that, well, it probably won't be because I have paid for 6 hours per month of internet space. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure we'll definitely do this again too. But I think this has been fun. Like I don't like it that much.
I'd
Actually.
give it about a 3 out of 10. So,
He's just
your
pissed.
guess kind of sucks.
He's just upset his phone couldn't connect to the internet. It's okay. Don't take it personally, chat. But yeah, I don't know, man. It's fun to do this as like, I would say this is like a passion project instead of like a passion music project, just straight up something that like I just enjoy doing it, and sitting down with friends is really cool to just be like, how's things? Right. How's life? How's whatever.
I think that's awesome that you branch out like that, because I always want to, but then I get afraid of all the judgment. Like if I were to post something, because I want to do a podcast too. I want to make videos, but for some reason it's like I've reached a level with music, not like I'm like, oh, I'm way up there, but like I've gotten far enough with music to where if I try to start another project from scratch and it's not up to that level that like any music that I do is, I just feel shitty about it. And I feel like I'm gonna get judged. I'm like, oh, this isn't worth anything. But I think that's not what I should be thinking about, because that's not what matters,
Yeah, and above all else, the way you get better at it is just doing it. Like I look back on some of my earlier YouTube videos, and I'm like, but I'm glad that I did it, and I'm glad that I tried it. And when I look at where my music videos started versus my music videos now, because I also did vlogging, so those I'm like, I'm not sure, but I like the idea and where I was going and the direction I was headed, but it just like wasn't for me, and it felt too kind of split, I guess. So I made it music stuff, and then like when it became just music stuff, like my earlier videos, I'm like, I might not have explained this as well as I could have, or I might have been limiting my audience by doing this, that, or the other. And now I feel like, okay, basically I have like a clearer vision in my head of what I want, and I get a better output of that. But I've been doing YouTube for like a while, and it took that much time to get good at it. I don't know. It's like the same thing when I talk at schools, and I'm like, you should do more music business stuff. Like, yeah, I don't have all the fucking answers, and I'm not making like stacks upon stacks freelancing and whatever else. But had I focused harder on it during school, I would be further than I am now, which is why I'm telling you guys to like start doing it, because like it matters when you start. And it's kind of one of those things where like you just keep like, that whole you miss 50% of the shots you always take, or whatever the fuck I said earlier when I botched it. But it is true. Like if you never try it or you never swing, like you're never going to figure it out or get a feel for it. But like, dude, all the stuff you've shared, I mean, fucking that roller skating video is hilarious. I saw that pop up on Facebook the other day. It was a video of Mason and his friend, who's like, in case you haven't noticed, Mason has like a very unique sense of humor that I think is just hysterical. And like this video was just like this super goofy, like skatery video that looked like a street part from like the 2010s. And it was just, but it was like satirical, and it was hilarious. Like it was so great. And every time I see that, I'm like, wow, that was really great. And then when I see your music stuff on Instagram, I'm like, wow, that's really cool. Like I want to see more of that. Obviously, I'm just like, I'm a consumer in 2020, so I'm just like, yes, give me more of these things. I love it. And mindlessly scrolling. But I don't know, man. I think your stuff's dope. I would love to see like a podcast and more videos and shit, because I think it'd be cool. I think you have stuff that's worthwhile to say too. Like there's that weird kind of line of like accepting the slight narcissism of posting things, because every artist that does anything is like, hey, this is worth your attention, which like I guess is kind of arrogant. But
no, yeah, you're right. I've my stuff is amazing. What can I say?
Yeah, I am fucking actually great at everything. So
no, I feel like so I listen to a lot of Bill Burr, and what he does is just kind of shits on himself all the time. So I've gotten, I don't know, that's actually kind of seeped into my life, probably to a fault. So lately I've actually been telling Noel, like, hey, can you tell me I'm good at this? Like, tell me I'm good at drums. I want to like feel like, even if I'm not amazing, just tell me I'm good. Like I'm doing something at least kind of good.
Yeah.
I've actually been playing more drums and percussion lately. Yeah, you're right. I feel like there's like a healthy level of narcissism that you need. Like, yeah, I believe in myself. I think this is actually good.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely, which is really weird. I struggled with that with emailing schools for a long time. I was like scared to like send emails, and like sending an email to like a program director at a university to be like, let me talk in front of 50 of your students is like kind of a big thing to do. And I'm not doing this as like
that's
a
awesome.
flex to be like, oh, I fucking did it, but like, but also I did. At like 2021, which not like the year, but like the age. But like there were a lot of emails and scheduling and opportunities that I didn't get just because I didn't even send the email because I was like, oh, I'm not worth it. So I'm not going to try. And like, who knows what could have happened had I had that fearlessness. And a lot of times too, you see people that are successful. They're like, they're not always the best at shit, but they just like don't give a fuck. They're just like,
Right.
fuck it, I'm going to do it. Like,
Honestly, some of my favorite like artists aren't even the most skilled. It's like the amount of the just how much they don't give a shit, and they will like just deliver whatever it is. That's what
yeah,
I've been trying to hone in on. I feel like that's what matters. That's what people want to see, because so many
yeah,
people care about things. They want to see somebody that doesn't give a shit
yeah, yeah.
and then just like
And
do it.
yeah, especially with like one thing too, like drum Instagrams, man. Like the amount of people that can play shit super clean. Like I don't give a fuck about chops anymore. I am never gonna have the fastest hands, play it the clean. I don't give a shit. Like that's just not gonna happen. But like I'm gonna be able to play unapologetically as myself now because I've focused more on doing that. But I think the one kind of thing, and it's weird with music too, is that like I don't know. The one thing that I think is true, and I don't think good and bad music is a thing because I think there's I used to, and now I think there's too many cultural
It's just what you
influences and
make it.
stuff that like to make that just like there's good and bad. It's like, well, no, if you're from somewhere else, your tolerance of this scale might be different than this because you're not exposed to it in your child. Whatever. There's too many factors. But I think there's honest music and like dishonest music, and I think usually people can determine that pretty well. Like I love fucking like pandering stadium country. I don't love it because it's honest. I love it just because like I think it's like goofy, you know. But everything else that I like, I think is like I can appreciate it for its honesty, you know. And that one I just appreciate for its attempt at being honest, even though it's extremely dishonest. As a quick rant about stadium country, but
Well, I heard a comedian recently. I think it might have been Andrew Santino. He was talking about he's like I used to shit on country without really knowing what it was, but I love it now. And he said something that really kind of opened my eyes. He was like, it's like Buddhism. They're just like, I'm grateful for what I got. I don't have a lot, but here's what I have, and I love it. And who cares if they sing about the same thing over and over again? It makes people feel good. But yeah, true. I mean, not. I think it can be like not. You can not like it, but it doesn't mean it's just like inherently bad.
yeah,
Just
no,
some
definitely.
people want to listen to it for their own reasons.
Yeah. Sometimes I question the sources. For me, it gets a little bit weird when like the face of it is someone who has no idea what the fuck they're talking about.
Oh,
But
yeah,
like,
that's the business part.
yeah, exactly. But then it's like the lyrics and the musicians and stuff are still talented and like effective, you know. So like, yeah, this guy might have the voice to convey the lyrics, which I guess that's a whole nother thing. Is like maybe it's not pandering bullshit. Maybe the person writing it is a really good storyteller or lived through that. But like, you know, maybe the one singing it didn't ever fucking touch a piece of dirt in his life because he lived in the city and went to prep school and an Ivy and whatever. Like,
I just wish people would at least make that known. Like they know that he's pretending. Like, okay, then I'm cool with it.
yeah, right.
Just know who wrote it, know who did it.
Your outfit costs more than my car, but tell me about how hard you worked today in the field, please. Yeah, I don't know. I think that's an interesting thing, but again, it's like that lack of giving a shit and like because I think maybe I need to spend more time thinking about this before I make like a conclusive statement. But with country stuff, like I think it's weird because I question the honesty of it. But I think any project, even beyond just music, as long as it's honest, is something that's like people will value. Like there's some dudes on YouTube that are like really weird dudes that probably went through some pretty intense bullying, just being very like realistic about it. Like there's someone who dresses in like only suits and has like really pale skin, and he does like food reviews of fast food, and he talks in a very professional way, and he carries himself a certain way, and he wears like handkerchiefs and stuff like that. And like I went to high school at a public place, like, and if I dressed in a certain way, I definitely got like made fun of or whatever else and saw it happen to other people. Not condoning it or anything else, but I'm just saying like, you know, there's probably a fair amount of criticism that this person received for who they are and how they acted, but they do it on the internet while reviewing fast food for tens to hundreds of thousands of people. And
Are you okay? Uh-oh.
I think someone's moving. I couldn't tell because Moore's not supposed to be home. It sounded like someone was trying to like open the door or something, and I was like, if I'm getting robbed, I need to grab a pan and go by my door for a second. I think I'm not. Okay.
Yeah, like, hang on.
We're
almost to an hour.
Point. Yeah. No, I forgot what it was. Something about honesty or what? Oh yeah. So this person does this, and they're like, they have like a giant following on the internet. I think they have over 1 million subs, and they're like, this is their thing that they do now. And like, they're appreciated for who they are. And like, me and Moore love watching their channel because like, yeah, he's a little weird and a little awkward. And some of his jokes are a little weird, the way they're delivered. And like, the way he speaks or dresses is different than what we speak or dress like. But it's him and it's honest. And like, that's super cool to us. And we're like, fuck yeah, like you do the thing, you know? But I'm sure he got a lot of shit from a lot of people for being that way. But in that, like, in a big scale, in the sense of like, you put it in the internet, everyone's like, hey, he's honest. Fuck yeah, go team, you know?
Yeah, one of the big things I've been thinking about, kind of along those lines, is like, if you don't like something, at least try to understand it. It doesn't make it bad. Like, just because it seems bad to you doesn't make it universally bad. But I feel like people always want to justify, why they think something is bad. So they say it's bad instead of I don't like it.
Yeah, dude, that's a huge thing. I think that would change so much. Just like, even in light of the recent election and stuff, is like
that's what I was thinking too. Yeah, that was on my mind. And kind of along the same lines, when people comment on Facebook, instead of saying you are an idiot, say I don't know you, but right now you are being an idiot. And I mean, just that small step, I think, would help a lot.
Yeah, or like, hey, I think where you're coming from doesn't have factual footing. Like anything that's less just like, and it's by the same token, just to be, this is as political as I'll probably ever get, is if you just say like the right or Republicans or the left or Democrats or conservatives or liberals, like, excuse me, you take these giant brushstrokes and you're immediately fucking things up so much. Like it's just already like a lost cause. The second you start taking those steps, it's just already.
And some people do it on purpose, and some people don't realize that, and they just tag along with it. Yeah. It's a mess.
It's a mess. But hey, anyways, the election's over now. Personally, pretty happy on that. But just because I think that the last president was not as condemning of certain behaviors as he should have been when he was outwardly presented with the chance. I don't
speak on this, but yeah, I agree. I'm the same.
When you're like, hey, do you think white supremacy is bad? The answer should be no, instead of a sidestep. But regardless, we move forward.
Wait, did you just say, do you think white supremacy is bad? And then he should have said no.
Or sorry, yes. Fuck.
Damn, Dylan. Okay.
I meant to say
turn.
yes.
I didn't expect it.
I think that would be a right turn given the way things have been. Hey, that's a political joke. Someone came up to Moore
on another level.
when Biden won. Someone came up to Moore and was like, why is everyone honking and screaming in the streets like everyone's celebrating in like downtown Manhattan? And they're like, because Trump won. And Moore was like, what? And they're like, wait, no, sorry. Biden won, Trump lost. And she was like, oh. Because that would be insane to see New York City light. Dude, that was crazy here. This will be the last, I think, the wrapping point. But, dude, I don't know what it's like in Nashville or where you live there, but so Moore works it's Soho, so it's where all the shops are. There's a lot of people, a lot of traffic all the time. And she texted me when Trump won, when Biden won, and sent a video, and people were like cheering in the streets and dancing and hugging, and like cars were honking, and people were like out their windows like hitting pans and stuff. And as I was on my way skating to work, and I was working in Queens and live in Queens, which is like you can see the city, but you're not like in Manhattan. There was cars honking and people in the streets like cheering and people hitting frying pans outside their window and stuff. And it was like insane to see the amount of like support and positivity. Like I felt like I could breathe again. It was just so like, aside from like your own political beliefs, like that it was relieving. It was really cool just to see that much like energy outwardly shared by so many people. Was just a really cool was a cool thing. I don't know what it's like in Nashville, or like, did you go to work that day? It was yesterday. What day is it? It was Saturday.
I didn't notice a damn thing. There you go.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, I don't know. Wait, it was Saturday, right? Yeah. Yesterday.
Yeah, so yesterday. Wow.
So no, yeah, I haven't. I mean, maybe tomorrow. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it was a crazy time just to see everyone kind of come together in that manner. Anyways, to all the listeners, you should come together right now over me and over to Mason's Instagram at Mason Wheaton, MasonWheaton _ Yeah, that transition was almost as flawless as Beyonce. Is Beyonce the one that sings Flawless? But that was a pretty fucking smooth transition. But seriously, check out Mason's thing. And if he gets 1 million followers from this episode, then I bet he'll feel peer pressure to either delete Instagram or post every single day until he loses his sense of self and then becomes anorexic and goes down the Hollywood path and moves to LA instead of Nashville. Either way, we should do one of those things to him. I'm just kidding. But you should follow his channel and, see his Instagram. That was a lot. Isn't that how it goes when you get 1 million followers? You either like get nervous and delete Instagram, or you like stop eating food and you go to LA and try to become like a model.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Check out his thing. Nope, do it up. Hey, you got it. Let's make this ending just real fucking awful and awkward. Let's just keep spiraling into this shit fest of like me editing and just a wreck of.
We should just cop an ending from a movie or another podcast with something that you know really well. Just parody it.
I am your father.
How about a musical? That's not the end.
How does Hamilton end? With like really shitty Broadway fake rap?
It says binge. The Badillon podcast.
Can we? I'm just. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna start the music right now, and I play "Come Sunday" as the ending, and it's just gonna be rolling right now, guys. Thank you so much for being here. We're doing the Band-Aid end. Mason, I'm not gonna end the call so you don't have to leave, but thank you for being here. Stream. Thank you for being here. If you're listening and you want to check out, wow, I'm gonna have to start the song so much sooner to keep going at this rate. You can see this live on twitch.tv/DylanManSewerMusic, the YouTube Drinks with Dylan. Mason's stuff will be in the description. My stuff will be in the description. You can check out the latest record of mine. Mason has a whole bunch of projects that he's a part of that's on his Instagram as well, so go check that out. He's super dope with the musics. Thank you for being here. Tell your friends. Dude, I don't know how to end this because I have an ending for my YouTube videos that are like very cohesive, and I don't know what the fuck to end this one as.
Tell your friends and tell your family to watch out because something's coming. I didn't know where I was going with that, sorry.